Hi there and welcome. I'm Psaila. Today's episode, what we're going to be speaking about today is 3 money building marketing concepts. And here's what I mean. Let's start here. So number 1, I believe that it's all about client acquisition. Now, what does client acquisition mean? Well, client acquisition is simple. It's your ability to bring prospects into your, I suppose if you want to call it sphere of energy, which is your business, right? Into your sphere of energy to begin the conversation with them to turn a prospect into a client. Now, a lot of businesses focus on client acquisition. And a lot of businesses look at client acquisition in a particular way, and here's what I mean by this. A lot of small business owners or medium business owners look at and say, I'm going to do a little bit of advertising and then I'm going to see how I go. Well, that's okay, except it's not specific enough and it's not measurable. You can't just say, well, I'm just going to do this and see how it goes and be able to measure it. What I want to be able to say is, I want this amount of clients or this level of client acquisition, so then I'm able to turn those clients into, those prospects into my clients, right? So now, in client acquisition, it's important to understand that that's the first phase of any marketing campaign. Now, what does client acquisition look like? Or what can you use for client acquisition? Now, number 1 is, I believe in building what's called a lead magnet. And here's what I mean by this. So a lead magnet is your ability to have somebody opt in, as an example, into your website. So they're going to give you a name and email at the minimum for, I'd like to say, a gift, right? Now, here's what I mean by that. So in other words, if you've got your website, as an example, if you're marketing online with your business, which regardless of whether you're an online business and or an offline business, it shouldn't make any difference. You should be, having a minimum of an online, level of presence. So in most business cases, it's a website. So on that, you want something that's a lead magnet. I mean, lead, obviously we know what a lead is, and a magnet is something that attracts people to trade for you their name and email, maybe a phone number, an address as well, in exchange for something that's really valuable that they need right now. In other words, it's going to solve a particular problem that they may have. Let me give you an example. So if you're a wellness practitioner, as an example, if you're a chiropractor, well, you may have a video, or you may have a download, a PDF, an infographic, a step-by-step process on how you can get less headaches during the day, as an example, maybe less headaches, and how to deal with neck pain, which usually causes headaches. The 5-step way to deal with neck pain to reduce your headache. So if somebody, as an example, suffers from headaches on a continuous basis, they could say, you know what, I can watch this video, I can check out this download. I'm happy to give somebody a name and an email in order for them to give me that information. Now, a lead magnet is is usually incomplete. In other words, it's not giving you everything that you possibly need. It's giving you enough, enough information to lead you in the right direction, except it's not everything. Obviously, it's something for free that most people do. Now, in other words, where it comes to client acquisition online, I would be starting at a lead magnet. So what is a lead magnet and how do you put that together? Well, we're going to be covering that in some other videos with this. So make sure you keep your eye out in your inbox, because we're definitely going to be having this in there. Or if you're checking out this membership area, check out some videos on that. Now, so client acquisition is number 1. In other words, you must have clients coming into your business, because if you don't have clients, well, it's cool, but you're not going to be financially secure in any way, shape or form, because you need to exchange your time and effort or your product for some money. Now, an offline level of client acquisition would be, as an example, if you're at a networking event, you may hand a pamphlet to somebody, you may hand a business card over to somebody that says, hey, if you want a 30-minute free consultation, or if you want to, come and check us out at the salon, if you want to, head, neck and shoulder massage. If you want us to come and do a quote, if you're a kitchen company, you want to come and do a quote, we're free of charge. We'll come out to your place and give you a quote. Once again, that's client acquisition. Now, client acquisition happens in a few different ways. It can happen online, so using things like social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google, Google Ads. It could be Twitter, Pinterest, any of the social media platforms effectively, because what you're doing is you're engaging with people there. And number two, if it's going to be offline, it could be at networking events, trade shows. You may send out, flyers. It could be pamphlets in the mail. It could be a newspaper ad, radio, TV. Any of those type of things are all client acquisition strategies. Now, let me show you part two. Now, so part two is then client monetization. In other words, once you get this client, right, once they've engaged with you, the prospect becomes a client now. Now it's time that you start to monetize them. So monetizing them is offering your core offer. So as an example, if you're a landscape gardener, what you do is landscaping and gardening. So that's your core offer. What you may do as a client lead magnet would be the 5 ways to keep your roses beautiful. Or, how to set up a little garden if you're in an apartment, right? Here's 2 videos to show you how. But the core offer is, what we do is we come and maintain your grass. We come and, do all the gardening for you. We can build things like retention fences or any of these type of things if you're a gardener. Now, client monetization, once again, is the core offer. So in other words, what you're able to do is now do you see you're taking people from being a prospect to acquiring them to now converting them into a client and now being able to monetize that client. What do I do now with that client? Now, this is where you're offering, once again, your core offer. So what you do or what your dominant level of work is. That's your core offer. So there's plenty of different monetization strategies. So it's saying, hey, I know that you've bought this, you've asked us to, look after your lawns. Have you ever thought about, re-turfing one section of it? Have you ever thought about, building a beautiful water feature? Have you ever thought about, maybe building a, new fence around this? Once again, if you're a gardener, let's say if you're in, the service-based industry. So if you're a life coach, well, your core offer obviously is, clients or life coaching components. You may say also, not only do we have that, but we've also, worked in with a trainer to not only get your mindset right, but also to look after your body. Once again, that's client monetization. We're going to be talking a lot about joint ventures and also upselling in some future videos. Now, part 3 here, right, is client reactivation. Now, here's what I mean by that. So the 3 money-making components around marketing is, first, I'm getting clients. 2 is I'm monetizing those clients, right? And now, by the way, with monetization, this is a continual process of engagement. And here's what I mean by that. This is something that once they become a client, what you're speaking to them about is, surveying them. What else would they like to know? It's giving them really, really good content. And I like to talk about the 80-20 rule in content. So 80% content and 20% call to action, or buy product or buy services. And this is continuous engagement. How can you do that online? You can do things like, marketing to them in email. You can send them, hard copy mail. So things like postcards, things like letters, albums, any of these things that you may have depending on what your business is. Now, number 3, so skipping over number 3, is client reactivation. In other words, this is when you've got a dormant client that you've had for a long time, that you've already done business with them, except you haven't spoken to them for a while. Now, there's strategies that you can do this. One of the strategies that you can do is to send an email and say, hey, you know what? Mr. or Mrs. Klein, or, Ms. Klein, I haven't seen you for a long time. I know I've been really busy. I'm really sorry to, be so busy, but I just have been looking after other things. And you know what? I thought I'd reach out and just see how you are again. Oh, by the way, we've also got something coming up that you may be interested in. So this is a really good way to reactivate a dormant client. Now, reactivation also comes from maybe something in the mail. To go, hey, here's this pamphlet, here's this voucher. You know what, I'm having a bit of a get together. I'd love to have you down here. We haven't sort of spoken for a little while. You could have an event coming up, a new product launch. Maybe you've got something like a trade show that's coming up that you want to invite that client over. So let me recap here. So you've got client acquisition, client monetization, and client reactivation. These are the three critical components you need to know when you're marketing and or pretty much running or your business and selling your product and or service as well. All right, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I look forward to seeing you on more of the episodes. I'm Psaila, and most importantly, I look forward to seeing you on the upside.